Hey everyone. It seems like everywhere you turn these days, someone's got the secret to success, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Books, podcasts, you name it.
Like a million different formulas out there.
It's kind of overwhelming, so we thought, let's simplify things. Let's do a deep dive into one idea, one book that really gets to the heart of it.
Makes sense.
And that's Carol Dweck's book, Mindset, The New Psychology of Success.
Oh, a classic.
Now, this isn't just some feel-good theory. Dweck's research is potent stuff. It's literally changed how schools work.
Yeah.
Businesses, even sports teams, operate differently because of her work.
I mean, it's amazing how it's really had an impact in the real world, not just in theory,
Exactly. And that's what we're digging into today. What are the surprising things from this book that you can actually use in your own life? So buckle up, because we're about to unlock some serious potential.
Let's do it.
All right, let's start with the core concept, the heart of the whole thing. Fixed mindset versus growth mindset.
Okay, yeah, that's the foundation.
Can you break those down for us? Like, what does it actually mean to have one versus the other?
Okay, so imagine this. With a fixed mindset, you kind of see your abilities as set in stone. Like, I'm either good at math or I'm not. It's like a fixed amount of intelligence,
Oh,
right?
no, you got it or you don't.
But with a growth mindset, you see it as potential. You think, okay, I might struggle with math now, but I can get better. It's all about effort, learning, finding the right strategies,
Oh, I see. So it's not just about smarts. It's about how you approach learning and challenges in general.
Exactly. It's like having a different operating system in your brain almost.
That's a great way to put it. So if someone with a fixed mindset hits a wall, they might just give up.
Yeah, like I'm not cut out for this.
But someone with a growth mindset, they see that wall as a challenge to overcome, a chance to learn and get stronger.
Exactly. Like, bring on the wall. I'm going to figure this out.
Okay, so far so good.
Yeah.
But are these mindsets like really that big of a deal in the real world, or is it just kind of a neat concept?
Oh, no, this stuff is powerful.
Okay, good.
Dweck uses this great example in the book, Michael Jordan. Like, we all think of him as this basketball god.
Ultimate natural talent.
Right. But guess what? He got cut from his high school basketball team.
What? No way.
Yeah. He wasn't a prodigy. He became one through, like, relentless practice, constantly pushing himself, honing his skills.
So it's not even about the raw talent you're born with. It's how you use it. It's that growth mindset that takes you further.
Exactly. That's Dweck's point. Even Michael Jordan needed a growth mindset to reach his full potential. Like, imagine if he got cut from that team and thought, well, I guess basketball's not for me.
Yeah, talk about a different world.
We might have never seen him fly. So it's not about denying talent exists. It's about recognizing that talent alone isn't enough.
It needs that fuel, that drive to keep growing. I love that. So how does all this mindset stuff actually play out in, like, our normal lives?
Oh, man. In so many ways. Dweck gets into it with education, business, even relationships. It's kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah, let's break it down, starting with education. How does mindset play out in a classroom, for example?
Okay, so picture a student struggling with math. With a fixed mindset, they might think, ugh, I'm just not a math person.
Yep, been there.
And give up, right?
Totally.
But a growth mindset student might be like, okay, maybe I need a different study technique or to ask for help. This is just part of learning.
So it's how you see the struggle, not the struggle itself. That makes sense.
And there's this amazing example in the book about a school that actually changed its grading system to reflect this. Instead of failing grades, they used not yet.
Whoa, wait, not yet.
Yeah. Isn't that good?
That's incredible.
It's like instead of labeling a kid a failure, it's saying, hey, you're on a journey. You're not there yet, but you will be.
That shifts everything. Like, imagine your performance reviews at work said, not yet, instead of some number rating. It changed your whole perspective.
Totally. It makes you think differently about feedback and development.
Yeah. Okay, what about business? How do these mindsets play out in the corporate world?
Right. Dweck contrasts two companies, Enron and General Electric, under Jack Welch. Enron had a very fixed mindset culture.
Oh, Enron, that's a name you don't hear in a good way very often.
Right. Like, appearing smart was everything there. More important than actually being smart.
So it was all about image over substance.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And because of that, they avoided risks, they hid problems, it was a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, and didn't it eventually, like, implode?
Big time. And then you have Jack Welch at GE. He fostered a total growth mindset.
Oh, interesting.
Encouraged employees to experiment, take risks, learn from failures. He knew that real progress needs that messy learning process.
So it's almost like those two companies were a real-world experiment on mindset. And the results speak for themselves.
Exactly. It's pretty powerful.
Okay, we've covered education, business. What about something more personal, like relationships? Do these mindsets show up there too?
Absolutely. Think about a couple hitting their first big relationship challenge.
Oh, yeah. Everyone goes through that at some point.
With a fixed mindset, they might jump to, this isn't working, we're just not compatible.
We're doomed.
Right, and give up too easily. But a couple with a growth mindset might see that challenge as an opportunity to communicate better, to learn about each other's needs, to grow together.
Because they see the relationship itself as something that can grow and evolve, not something fixed that's either perfect or broken.
Exactly. And it's the same with any skill, really. Relationships take effort, patience, a willingness to learn.
Wow, this mindset stuff really does touch everything, doesn't it? But before we get into the how-to of developing a growth mindset, I think it'd be cool to look at some of the research behind it.
Oh yeah, there's some fascinating stuff there.
Because knowing it works is one thing, but knowing why it works is even cooler.
Definitely. One study I found really interesting looked at how praise affects children's brains.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when kids were praised for their effort,
Okay.
the parts of their brains associated with learning, they lit up. But when they were praised for being smart,
Oh, interesting.
much less activity.
So even the words we use can actually impact how our brains develop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not just positive thinking, there's real science behind it.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so powerful.
Amazing. So how do we put this into practice? Knowing about mindsets is one thing, but how do we actually shift our own thinking to operate from a more growth-oriented place?
Well, one of the most powerful things is changing how we talk to ourselves and others.
Mm.
Like, instead of saying, I'm not a creative person,
Yeah.
you add that magic word, yet. Like, I'm not a creative person yet.
Oh, it's so simple, but it makes a huge difference.
Right, you're opening up the possibility instead of shutting it down.
Totally. And it's not just about what we say to ourselves, it's about how we talk to kids, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Wait.
Like, instead of saying, you're so smart,
Yeah.
you say, wow, you worked so hard on that drawing. Look at all those details.
Yeah. You're emphasizing the effort, the process, not just the outcome.
Exactly. It's like you're saying, I see your hard work, not I'm judging your ability.
It's much more encouraging and supportive.
And here's the cool part. Research shows that when we praise effort, kids actually embrace challenges more.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but when we praise just being smart, they tend to avoid challenges. They're scared of losing that label.
So just by changing our language, we can actually change behavior. It's like rewiring their brains for growth.
Exactly. And speaking of challenges, one of the most powerful ways to cultivate a growth mindset is by embracing failure.
Oh, that's a good one. But how do you know when to persevere and when to pivot? It's easy to say embrace failure, but in real life it can be tricky.
That's a great question. And that's where self-awareness and feedback come in. Like with a growth mindset, you see feedback as information, not criticism.
Whoa, I like that.
It's like having a coach helping you refine your game.
It's that saying feedback is a gift, right? But it's only a gift if you're open to it.
Exactly. So instead of getting defensive, we can ask, what could I learn from this? How can I get better?
It takes the sting out of it and makes it useful.
Right. Turns it into fuel for growth.
Yeah. Okay, so we've talked about language praising effort, reframing feedback. What are some other practical tips people can use to really cultivate this growth mindset?
One I love is the idea of beta mode. Think of it like those early releases of software companies use them to get feedback and improve.
Right.
We can do that with our own lives.
I love that analogy. So instead of needing to be perfect right away, you're experimenting, iterating, getting better over time.
Exactly. It takes the pressure off needing to have it all figured out.
Permission to be a learner, to make mistakes. It's freeing.
It is. And speaking of learning, another big one is who you surround yourself with.
Oh, yeah. Your environment makes a difference, for sure.
Huge. If everyone around you is negative, complaining, stuck in a fixed mindset, it's tough to stay positive and growth-oriented.
It's like trying to grow a flower in a desert. It needs the right conditions.
But if you're around people who are curious, supportive, always learning themselves, it's like fertilizer for your own growth.
I love that. And it's not just your immediate circle, right? It's also about finding role models, people who embody that growth mindset.
Oh, totally. It could be someone, a historical figure, even a character from a book. Find those stories that resonate and remind you that growth is possible.
Yeah, it's like finding those little sparks of inspiration to keep you going.
Exactly. And sometimes when you're feeling stuck, it helps to look back and celebrate how far you've come.
Oh, that's important. It's so easy to get caught up in what you haven't achieved yet and forget to acknowledge the progress you've made.
Right. So take time to appreciate your efforts, your wins, even the little ones.
It's like giving yourself a high five. Hey, good job. You're on the right track.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. Even the most growth-minded people need support sometimes.
It's not a weakness. It's a sign of strength, knowing you don't have to do it all alone.
Exactly. And this brings up another point. Patients developing a growth mindset.
Yeah.
It's a process, not a destination.
It takes time, effort, consistency, just like anything worthwhile.
Right. There will be days you feel like you're flying and others where you're stuck in the mud.
That's life, right? It's a winding path, not a straight shot to success.
And it's in those moments of feeling stuck that the growth mindset is most important. Because it's easy to get discouraged. But if we can reframe those setbacks as learning opportunities, we keep moving forward.
Even if it's slower than we'd like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So instead of beating yourself up, ask, what can I learn? How can I adjust my approach?
Love it. Break it down into smaller steps.
Yes. Less overwhelming. And those small wins fuel your motivation.
It's like climbing a mountain. You focus on one step at a time, not the whole peak at once.
And celebrate those milestones. They remind you what you're capable of.
It all comes back to that research on praise, right? Celebrating the journey, not just the end result.
It's about recognizing your effort, your resilience. That's where the real fulfillment is.
So as we wrap up this part, I just want to say it's been amazing exploring all this with you. It's so inspiring to see how this mindset can really transform lives.
Me too. So I'm curious, what are your biggest takeaways from all this?
Yeah, what really resonated with you? You know, as we're talking about all these strategies for like building a growth mindset,
Yeah.
the thing that keeps coming back to me is that it's not about being perfectly growth-minded all the time.
Right.
It's more about the journey itself, you know?
Totally. There's no finish line with this.
Yeah.
It's about embracing all of it, the ups and downs.
Stumbles and the wins.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's not about having all the answers or always being the smartest person in the room.
Which is kind of relieving, honestly.
Right. We're all works in progress.
Always learning, always growing. But I think some people might be listening and thinking, okay, this all sounds great, but what about when I just feel stuck?
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to be growth-minded, but I don't see the progress.
Oh, I hear that. That feeling is way more common than you think. And the thing is, progress isn't always a straight line.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't feel that way sometimes.
Sometimes it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Yeah.
Or even a few side steps.
More like a winding path.
Exactly. Not a straight shot to success. And those moments of feeling stuck, that's when the growth mindset matters most.
Because it'd be easy to just give up.
Exactly. But if you can reframe it, like, okay, this is an opportunity to learn, what can I adjust? Then you keep moving forward.
Even if it's slow.
Exactly. So don't beat yourself up for not being where you think you should be. Instead, ask, what can I learn from this? How can I tweak my approach?
Yeah, good advice. And sometimes maybe it's about breaking down those big, huge goals into smaller steps, right?
Oh, for sure. It's way less overwhelming.
Yeah.
And those little wins, they keep you going.
It's like that saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Right. And celebrate those milestones along the way. They show you what you're capable of.
And it reinforces that growth mindset. You're not waiting for some big external success to feel good about yourself.
Right. It's about recognizing your own effort, your resilience. That's where the true satisfaction comes from.
I love that. Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive into mindset, I just want to say it's been such a pleasure exploring these ideas with you. Likewise. I think for anyone listening, the biggest takeaway is that cultivating a growth mindset, it's an ongoing journey.
It's not a one-time achievement.
It's about showing up for yourself every day with curiosity, a willingness to learn, and belief in your potential.
And when you stumble, and you will stumble.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Remember, those stumbles are not failures. They're just opportunities to learn, adjust, and come back stronger.
They're part of the process.
Exactly. It's all part of becoming the best version of yourself.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So to everyone listening out there, embrace the challenges, celebrate those small wins, and never stop believing in your ability to grow. You got this.
Yeah.
Maybe not yet, but you got this.